Sophie Elsworth is the media writer at The Australian, superb journalist, and she joins us now. Sophie, great to talk with you. The COVID privacy lies. The Victorian government really are covered in all sorts of mystery and deception. There's been all sorts of interesting things over the last couple of years, but this is a biggie because it impacts a heck of a lot of people.
Oh, Gary, it's just unbelievable, the reports out today. But they're really not that surprising, sadly, down here in Victoria, that the government and the Chief COVID Commander Jeroen Weimar tried to keep secret that us down here in Victoria checking in using QR codes, our information can be accessed by third parties if they apply to successfully get our information through a court ruling. Now, we were assured by Premier Daniel Andrews, Gary, last year in November, that after 28 days, once we checked in using a QR code, our information would be destroyed. We were also told that the information we used, checking in through QR codes would only be for public health advice. Now, it came out in reports in the Herald Sun today. This is not the case. This issue has gone to court. The Chief Commander, COVID Commander Jeroen Weimar, and the Victorian government tried to keep the court case secret for 5 years. The Herald Sun dropped this bombshell today, and I think all Victorians and all people in Victoria checking in should be concerned. Where is their data going, Gary?
Yeah, and reasonably so. I mean, people like me who, whilst they haven't been to Melbourne for a few years, are prepared to go. I may have to go there for business in the next couple of weeks. I've already put on my Victoria sign-in app, so I wonder if my details are now, potentially being able to tap. Oh, there you go. Somebody's probably going to go searching for it now. This is a breach of trust stuff. Not surprising, Sophie.
Absolutely, it's a breach of trust. And this is just repeated over and over again by Daniel Andrews. I mean, let's not forget, he's the Premier who's had the most COVID deaths in the country. We've had the longest lockdowns in the world. He's stuffed up COVID management royally. And now we're finding out that our privacy could potentially be breached when we were assured by the Premier that our information was only going to use by public health officials. That has not been the case. And I think this is incredibly concerning for all people who are doing the right thing and checking in. And I've been sceptical, Gary, from the beginning. When you check in, where is your information going? It just seemed to me they've got all this data on us now. They can trace our movements wherever we're going. I don't like that at all. And this should concern Victorians today hearing this in the news.
Well, of course, it could go to the point, Sophie, where, the data could be sold on. It becomes a commodity. They will have a profile on your spending patterns, on your dining patterns, on your fueling up your car patterns, all of those things. This is information we all know. We get these scam texts and emails and everything all the time. This is information that feeds that beast beautifully.
Well, Acting Premier Jacinta Allen came out today and obviously hit back at these reports and said, look, anyone who wants to access this information has to go through court to do so. It's only done in extreme situations. But how are we to believe what these politicians are feeding us when we're told something last year by Premier Daniel Andrews, who's now on holidays, who wasn't talking about this today? Jacinta Allen was put out in front of the microphone, and we're meant to trust their word. And then we've found that Jeroen Weimar, who was running the train system down here and stuffed that up as well, he's now trying to keep this court case secret. And I think that's concerning for everyone who's checking in, Gary. I think, and also what they said today, they didn't want it made public because they thought it would result in people being sceptical about checking in. Well, any wonder? I mean, after the reports today, Gary, any wonder people have no trust in the government and no trust in politicians?
No, and the politicians don't have trust in the people either, because if they want to actually hold this stuff back from public gaze, it means they don't trust us with this knowledge. And I think that's a bigger problem, which people have got to sort out. I don't get a vote in the Victorian election. I don't know how anybody could vote for this mob again after all the things they've done. But how many people have got to die on their watch would be my big question.
he's hugely popular, Gary. I mean, I know you're up in Queensland, but Daniel Andrews is on the way to, returning to government next November. We've got a weak opposition and he's getting away with stuff like this. They don't hold him to account. People turn a blind eye. He's got a huge majority down here. And I think slowly people are starting to wake up to it. But unfortunately, we've got a lot of politicians on the other side of the fence that don't have any strength.
Yeah, comfortable in opposition can be a plague for them, that's for sure. Let's talk about my least most favourite topic in the entire world, Meghan Markle. I'm glad that they've actually released a colour picture of young Archie and the new baby Elizabeth, because at least we now can see the bright red hair that Archie's got. There's no doubt about his dad. But until then, it was all black and white. But she wouldn't have been all that welcome around the Christmas table, I wouldn't have thought, if they'd been in England this year.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, look at Kate Middleton. She's got complete style and class. We saw her coming out playing the piano in the lead up to the Christmas. The royal family just absolutely adore her. The Queen in her speech didn't mention Meghan or Harry. Now she's had this court case that she's won against the newspaper over there in the UK that published parts of her letter to her father. She's won this court case, Gary. This might be a win for Meghan, but she's at war with everyone. I mean, this woman falls out with everyone. She falls out with her best friends, her own father, her stepsister, her in-laws. I mean, the list goes on and on. As I've said before on Sky, I just wish there would be a day where I don't have to hear about Meghan Markle. But unfortunately, her and Harry are obsessed with being in the media despite wanting privacy. And we're going to hear a lot more from them in the new year, Gary.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go home and give myself the metaphoric uppercut for even raising the subject. But nevertheless, we've dealt with it, Sophie. That's it. It's now safe to resume normal transmission. Sophie Elsworth from The Australian. Great to talk with you. Have a great 2022. If I don't catch up, we'll see you then. See you next year, as they say. That's Sophie Elsworth.